And I want to point out, Alan was asking about the Moors' conquest of Europe. So what happened was the Merovingians were fighting with Charles Martel, that would be Charlemagne's grandfather. After Martel defeats them, the Moors then come across North Europe. I mean Northern Africa and into Spain. And they take Spain, and then Martel stops them at the Battle of Tours in France. He unites like all of the Frankish tribes that he had been fighting against. Unites all of them. They make a stand against the Muslims. They drive them back to Spain. Spain is then controlled by the Muslims, by the Moors, for 800 years. Um, and then you have Harun al-Rashid that comes in like 100 years later and apologizes to Charlemagne, or whatever, like 60 years later, apologizes to Charlemagne, says, look, they should have never done that. The Moors should have never come into Europe. We apologize. Here's a gift. There's famous paintings of that meeting. He invites the Europeans to come to his learning centers where they're performing surgery and they're doing advanced academia, advanced studies, far more advanced than what was happening in Europe or in China.
Yep.
You also have, by the way, the Mongols in like the 12th century. You have the Mongols in the Middle East as part of like the Crusades. They're in that region too, fighting. So the Mongols that have driven all the way from China and driven, we talked about the Turkmen being driven out of Central Asia, driven down into modern day Turkmenistan, and then eventually the Ottomans move in to modern day Turkey and set up their empire. So the people who chased them were still around in the Middle East, and they were, when they chased them down to that region, they're around, and so they're fighting the Muslims, they're fighting the Christians, and they have a presence.
Yeah. It's a mess. And actually, I was reading an article on how Venice rigged the world's biggest financial collapse, and it was by Paul Gallagher from EIR, and it's about like a 30-page exceptional study